Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. We are going to talk about how people react when there is conflict, and as usual we have our facilitators with us. She's going to take us through. Karibu sana Madam Kezia.
Thank you so much, Esther.
You're
welcome back, our viewers. As she has said, we're going to talk about how people react or how people behave when they are faced by conflict, and I'm going to liken them, or I'm going to use animals to show how people behave. The first characteristic that we see when there is conflict, there is this animal we call Mr. Tortoise or Mr. Turtle. You know how a tortoise behaves?
Tortoise.
Yes.
When it sees a person
Yes.
coming,
Yes.
it hides.
It hides
In its shell.
in its shell. Yes. So there's this animal we call tortoise or conflict. There are people who behave like this animal when there is conflict. When they are faced by situations or when they are faced by conflict, they hide themselves. Like they hide inside the shell. They hide, or they withdraw physically, they withdraw emotionally, pulls into silence. Does this ring a bell? That you have had a friend, when you had a disagreement or when you had an argument, they just block you, they don't talk to you, they don't speak to you, they just hide. And then over a period of time, they re-emerge. Like nothing happened, everything is okay, they have not dealt with the disagreement, they have not dealt with what was bringing conflict, but because they hid or because they withdrew, once they come back, they assume that everything is okay. Have you ever had such a friend?
Yeah.
Or have you ever been that?
Been
Like that yourself?
Yeah, there is a time I never knew how to solve conflict, so I used to withdraw like completely.
Yes, so there are people who deal with conflict like that. They shy away, they withdraw physically, emotionally. You may be having a spouse, you may be having a coworker, you may be having a parent, a friend, a sibling. That every time there's a conflict, every time there's a misunderstanding, they hide. They withdraw. They'll not speak to you, they'll not talk to you, they'll block you, they'll not reply to your messages, they'll not reply to your WhatsApp, they just boutique you, they just read your messages, but they'll not answer. Over a period of time, when they have sat down, they have cooled, they re-emerge like nothing happened. That is one group of people and how they deal with conflict. The other person or the other group of people is something we call, is a group we call the skunk. The skunk is an animal that produces or releases a very foul smell when they are under attack. They use the weapons of sarcasm, blaming, makes others to look bad. Look at a scenario where you have ever had or ever seen someone who attacks you through very rude words. They are so sarcastic. They blame you, they are like, look at you and the way you are, even they're trying to attack you through very bad words, through shaming you, through sarcasm. Every time there's a conflict arises, that is how they react. I liken them to this animal I call the skunk.
Is it that animal called Gadagaraite?
Yes, in Kikuyu, it's called Gadagaraite. This animal, when there is an attack, or when it feels like it's being attacked, it releases a very bad smell. So there are people who behave like this animal, that when they are facing conflict, they'll blame you, they'll abuse you, they use bad words, they're going to be very sarcastic, they're going to blame you, like everything is about you. They make you look bad. They make you feel you're the cause of all the pains, or you're the cause of the problem. There's another one who is called Mr. Gorilla. You know a gorilla?
Yes.
What do you know about a gorilla? A
A
gorilla is a big animal,
Yes.
right? And if you look at the gorilla,
a monkey.
yes, a big version of the monkey. If you look at this animal, it behaves in a way that in the area that it is, it has to be seen. It has to be the one saying. It has to be the winner. So there are people who put the things you've done to them in the past, they file them. They file them. All the things that have happened in the past, all the mistakes you've done to them in the past, all their grievances, and then when a conflict arises, they are going to use these things to intimidate you. They're going to use these things to manipulate you. they'll use these things to win you back or to win over you. Like you shared intimate things with them, or you did something wrong to this person. For example, let me say, in a marriage setup, a wife who knew the things that the husband has been doing over and over and over, and then a conflict happens. They start now using the things done in the past. You did this to me the other time, you said this, you said this. Like they always keep the files of all the wrongs that have been done. And then they're using these things to manipulate the other person, either the spouse, the husband, the brother, the sister, the sibling, the parents. They behave like how a gorilla behaves. They use your past to manipulate or to win over you. There's another animal we call the chameleon. The one that changes colors, we call it the yielder. There are people who behave like a chameleon. Every time there is a conflict, they behave or they change color to work with them within the current situation. They are like how a chameleon behaves. When a chameleon gets to a place where there is a very bright color, it changes its color to be exactly like how the environment is. They desperately want to be accepted, and they get along. The guys we say, I call it in Swahili, the staki maneno guy. There's somebody in your company, in maybe in your family, among your siblings, maybe your spouse. They're like, if anything happens, they'll just move with them. They just go along. Like staki maneno, umesema hivyo ni sawa. You've said it to be like that, ni sawa. Juu hataki maneno. But that doesn't mean they have solved the conflict. But there are people who solve conflict like that. We call them the yielders. They just go with the waves. They just follow the current. Now, there is another group of people we call the wise ones. They behave like the owl. You know the owl?
Yes.
Yes, the owl. That bird that has very big eyes. Yes. This one, they use something we call intellect. Intellectual. They intellectualize every issue. They use academic facts, logics, to make you feel like you're not dumb, like you've
like you're not retreat.
Yes, like you're not retreat. They use a lot of psychology, very big words. Every time there's conflict, and they make you look like a fool. There are people who behave like that. We call them the wise ones. In an event, a conflict happens. They always want to make the other person look foolish, look like you don't know what you're doing. So we call them the wise ones. They behave like the owl. There's another bird we call the beaver, the one who digs. A beaver is a bird that digs and then it hides itself. You can't see it. It digs holes, it hides itself. Now, there are people, when there is conflict, they hide themselves into work. They wake up very early in the morning, they sleep very late because they don't want to face the other person, and they don't want to face the conflict. So they behave like this bird. They hide themselves in work and making themselves unavailable. In an event of a marriage, I love using marriage so much because nowadays there are so many things happening in marriages. People don't understand what is happening. They don't understand the characters of their spouses. And now it's good if we understand how people behave when there's conflict. If you find your spouse behaving like this, you will know why they're doing the things the way they're doing. Now, a spouse who behaves like a beaver, they'll always leave the house before the other spouse wakes up. If it's a husband, he'll leave the house before the wife wakes up. Coming back at night when the children are asleep and when the wife is asleep. Really, they're trying to make themselves unavailable. So that because they don't want to deal with what is at hand. Now, the other animal is the ostrich. The ostrich is known to have a very long neck, and then a neck that is kakonde sana, and then a big body. Now, when there's a problem or when there's danger, what an ostrich does, it hides its head.
And it leaves
the whole entire body.
Outside.
Outside. It hides its head. Now, there are people who shelve issues. things are happening around them, but they are hiding or they are assuming these things are not happening, but they are happening. The smallest head with the biggest body, as long as they have buried their head, they assume everything is
okay.
well. There are people who behave like this ostrich, that as long as they are hiding, as long as they feel there is nothing, they feel everything is okay. So they shelf issues instead of dealing with them. That is how these guys behave. Now, the other animal is the giraffe or the mother giraffe. The mother giraffe kicks anything that comes closer to them when there is conflict. They don't want to listen to anything at all. Now, the mother giraffe, once it has given birth to a baby giraffe, what happens to this baby? It is kicked so that it gets stamina. Immediately after birth, the next thing you see after mother giraffe gives birth is him kicking this giraffe.
The baby.
The baby giraffe, yes. It kicks the baby giraffe so that the baby giraffe can get stamina to stand for itself. So there are people who deal with conflict like this mother giraffe. That when conflict comes, they are going to kick it away. They don't want to be around the area of conflict. They believe that you can deal with issues just like this mother giraffe.
Okay.
You can stand for your own. You can stand for yourself. In the jungle, if the mother giraffe doesn't deal with this baby like this, it knows that if it shows mercy to this baby, the next minute this baby is going to be a prey. It's going to be hunted by the lions and the other animals. So it doesn't have to show mercy to this baby because it is training it. So there are people who behave like that. They kick anything that comes closer to them. They don't want conflict close to them. So there are people who deal with conflict like that. Now, that will be the end of our presentation today. Hope we'll meet again, and we hope we have learned more about conflict. God bless you so much.